The Saints had a horrible year in 2022. I think we can all agree on that. A season full of injuries, bad tactics, underutilization, and overall just really bad football. Well, I can confidently say this drought is over. This upcoming season, the Saints will go for a deep playoff run, and I wouldn't even count them out on winning the Super Bowl. But how can I possibly make these bold claims after such a horrible season? Their worst season since 2005 to be exact. Well, stick around and let me show you. The offense. If you were tuned in to even a little bit of the Saints last season, it would be very easy for one to conclude that the Saints offense was horrible. Very inconsistent, not intimidating, and just weak. And you'd be right. The Saints offense showed sparks, but it wasn't consistent. Last season, injuries plagued the Saints. Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston's season ended 3 weeks in. The Saints foundation was broken without their star wide receiver and their starting quarterback. The debate of whether Jameis or Andy Dalton were the better QB is a video of its own. I'm not going to get into that. Regardless, the Saints strategized and built around Jameis and Michael Thomas, and by the third week, they were gone. So, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael had to improvise, and boy did he do a horrible job at it. The offense never truly found any rhythm, and you could try to give Carmichael some slack because of injuries, but nah. Even though MT and Jameis were out, you cannot say we had bad players. 3 players had a breakout season. The Saints' first round pick, Chris Olave, stepped up as wide receiver 1, and he did not disappoint. So much so that he almost won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he really should have, but he got robbed. Undrafted rookie Rashid Shaheed actually came out of nowhere. The day before his debut in week 7, he was on the practice squad. But when he was given the chance, he literally scored a 44-yard rushing touchdown on his first ever play in the NFL. And finally, Juwan Johnson had a crazy season out of nowhere. He had 7 receiving touchdowns. That was last season. Now, going into the 2023 offseason, lots of changes have been made. The elephant in the room. Derek Carr is now the quarterback for the Saints. A QB that takes charge and is actually really good. Some would argue against it, but objectively, at the least, no one can say he is a bad quarterback, because he isn't. If we look at his numbers in the previous season, just in 2021, he had almost 5,000 yards. We know he can go crazy, given the right weapons and a good defense. This pickup costs a pretty penny though, $150 million for 4 years to be exact. But I don't really think that matters for the Saints. They always seem to recover like nothing happened. So now the Saints have an actual good quarterback who has proved themselves under not favorable conditions and showed he can be really good. The Saints rushing side is stacked. They picked up running back Jamal Williams for dirt cheap. I don't know what happened, but anyone will gladly take last season's rushing touchdown leader for $12 million for 3 years. And alongside him will be the star, Kamara. Well, if he doesn't get suspended. And rookie Kendre Miller. A very promising kid who has a lot of potential and has the mentality to tap into that potential. Now, what everybody has been waiting for, the wide receiver core. Michael Thomas is back. Yeah, he's back. Michael Thomas has suffered these past seasons. Unfortunate injuries have ended the season time and time again, but the Saints have decided to give him one more chance, one more season to take back his throne. The possibility of him getting injured again is unlikely, but it can still happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did. But let's say he doesn't get injured. Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed will be wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. Wide receiver 1, I don't know who that would be. It would be either Chris Olave and Michael Thomas because they've both proven themselves. But Rashid is for sure wide receiver 3, at least for now. I expect a lot from him, and you should too. I made a video about him if you want to check it out. They also picked up wide receiver A.T. Perry in the draft, a 6'5" giant who has crazy potential. His college highlights are insane. The last notable pickup on the offense was the addition of tight end Foster Moreau, Derek Carr's teammate last season on the Raiders. Something crazy though is that when Foster came to the Saints, he was actually diagnosed with cancer. Foster has miraculously recovered very well and is actually on pace to play in the season. This news warms my heart, and I'm actually really happy for him. The offense is way stronger this season. We know this, but there's just one doubt at the back of my mind that I cannot get rid of. What if Pete Carmichael completely throws off the Saints off like last season? I want to give Carmichael some slack because he had to improvise a lot last season, but I don't know. No one really trusts his ability to execute a good strat, and rightfully so. Maybe Carmichael can redeem himself this season though. We'll just have to wait and let it play out. The defense. The defense last season wasn't affected by injury nearly as much as the offense. except for the star cornerback Marshawn Lattimore being injured for 75% of the season, maybe more. But actually, despite the absence of Marshawn, they were actually really good last season. Well, the second half at least. First half was kind of meh, but after week 10, they were just getting better and better. They didn't allow more than 20 points after week 10. They even limited the 49ers to only 13 points, the lowest for the 49ers in the entirety of their season-changing winning streak, where they were unstoppable. They also held the Eagles to only 10 points. 10 points. That is insane. Even if Carmichael struggled with the offense, Dennis Allen seemed to have cracked the code with the defense. A big part of it was due to Alontae Taylor, the rookie cornerback, stepping up to be cornerback 1 while Marshawn was gone. Alontae didn't disappoint. Instead, he locked down almost everyone he faced. And when Marshawn came back, the defense was just even better with Alontae as cornerback 2 and a whole bunch of others like DeMario, Tyrann Mathieu, Pete Werner, and Cam Jordan. This defense was good. The Saints actually ranked second best passing defense in the league last season. That is crazy for a team that went 7-10. Now moving forward to the present, the Saints made some changes. They drafted Brian Bresee in the first round, a defensive tackle, a position that the Saints have been needing for a while. The D-line, I would say, is the weakest part of the defense besides Cam Jordan. So this was a good decision. Saints also picked up Isaiah Foskey with their second round pick, a defensive end. These pickups were very much needed, I'm not gonna lie. Those two are the only really notable names in terms of defense, but to be honest, they don't really need much more. Everything besides the D-line is good on defense, really good actually. Hopefully these two players can complete the last piece of the puzzle. However, I want to include one more name, Smoke Monday. He was supposed to be a rookie last year, but he had a season-ending injury in practice, so technically this will be his rookie year. I've seen him play and he's good, and he's a hard-hitting safety. His name is literally Smoke Monday. He's bound to be a menace. With these additions, I see nothing but improvement for this already powerful defense. Coaching. Dennis Allen started head coaching again just last year, and it was really bad at the start, I'm not gonna lie. But I've seen his progress as a coach and as a leader. He shows way more emotion and enthusiasm for the players and the team. He has greatly improved the defense, and he isn't saying stupid things like this anymore. Dennis Allen is getting better, and at this point, he's not as hated as the start of last season. Still, not everyone likes him or trusts him, but it's a process. Now, Pete Carmichael, as I've said before, he is ultimately the factor that could completely destroy the Saints season or make their season a great one. But that is on Pete Carmichael, and there isn't much to be said or much to predict about him. Opponents. Combine all the previous points with this final point and we get a very successful season. This final point is the actual opponents the Saints will be facing. The Saints have, based on the NFL, the second easiest schedule in the entire league, right behind the Falcons. This powerhouse of a team is going to have the second easiest schedule in the league. Let that sink in. The Saints have almost everything aligned perfectly for an amazing season. Oh, and one more thing. The Saints will be, and mark my words, the NFC South Division leader without a doubt. Everyone else in his division is either trash or mediocre. The Buccaneers of the upcoming season are essentially tanking with Kyle Trask as their quarterback. The Falcons just aren't very strong at all. At best, they come in second place in his division. I will say that the Panthers will probably have the highest chance of actually doing decent this year, as they picked up Bryce Young and then old Adam Thielen. How much of these two can change the team though? I don't really know. Conclusion. The Saints have made big changes to the offense for the better. And even though the defense hasn't changed as much, they don't really need to. The Saints have an easy schedule ahead of them, and their path towards the Super Bowl doesn't get much clearer than this. Expectations are high, and the Saints will have a lot to prove this season, but not just the players, the coaches as well. More specifically, Pete Carmichael. Can Pete find out how to operate his weapons, or will he, just like last season, hold the Saints back?
So again, that starts with me and evaluating myself first, and then as the coach is evaluating what we're doing and make sure we're doing the right things, and then getting to whether it's red zone or turnovers and things like that, run game, pass game.